you like a glass of water? Okay. I'm gonna go grab some. Thank you, Jane. Hello and welcome to our service. We are the Rogue Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ROOF, in Ashland, Oregon. My name is Merak Milligan, and I'm part of ROOF because ROOF is a place where we can share and teach each other about our personal beliefs without fear of being judged. We are happy to welcome you to our service, both online and in person. We want to especially thank the members of the stream team who are helping make the online service happen, and the members of the neighborhood team who welcome the on-site congregation and provide coffee hour. We invite you to sign up for our mailing list on rvuuf.org. You'll receive a weekly email that gives you all the information you need to make your decision about whether you'd like to join us on Sunday morning on site or online. You will also learn about other great things going on at ROOF. We are glad you're with us for this service, and we invite you to join us in our mission, embracing diversity, empowering connection, and engaging in the work. A little teaser for next week's service will be called Our Ancestors America. And Daniel Guy will be sharing his experience meeting his African-American relatives after discovering they were connected. Should be interesting. We begin each service by acknowledging that our building is built on land that began as the home of the Cow Creek Umpqua, Takelma, Shasta, and Lagawa people. We remind ourselves that Indigenous people are part of our communities and continue to experience the effects of colonization. We are committed to fighting for the worth and dignity of Indigenous people, both in our community and around the world. These services are a part of that work. Welcome, and thank you for being with us.
Good morning. My name is Vern Crawford, and it's my pleasure to be part of today's service. I happily add my welcome to Merak's. At ROOF, I lead an interest or affinity group called the Seasonal Rituals Group, which meets 8 times a year to celebrate together. I'm so glad you've made time to be here in the Great Hall or viewing online. Let us light our chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism, but a little differently today. We'll be singing song number 362 in the gray hymnal, but the words are also at the top of your order of service, so either way, the words are there. I'm going to sing this for you the first time, and then you'll come in on the second singing of it. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing. Show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing. Show to us beauty, vision, and joy. For our opening hymn, if you would like to stand for this, if you're willing and able, it's All Creatures of the Earth and Sky, number 203 in the gray hymnal. We'll sing verses 1 and 3, and I will be leading you since Julie Crooks is not here today. Of the earth and sky, come, kindred, lift your music for all life to hear. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Dance, flame of fire so strong and bright, and bless us with your warmth and light. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Nichols, and I'm a member of the anti-racism team here at ROOF. And today I chose the topic of what is Juneteenth. Juneteenth was just celebrated this past Thursday. So I'll give you a quick rundown. We celebrate it as a federal holiday here in the United States because it marks the formal end of slavery in the American South. On this day in 1865, Black Americans in Texas learned for the first time that the U.S. President signed the Emancipation Proclamation 2.5 years earlier. Interesting, it took that long. So June 19th, 1865, therefore marked the effective date of freedom for the last enslaved people living in the Confederacy. Even though when it was decreed, this emancipation was incomplete. President Lincoln's proclamation was a wartime measure that applied only to Confederate states that had rebelled against the federal government. And as a result, slavery did persist even after that decree was announced in border states that had remained loyal to the Union. In latter states, slavery would not officially end until the ratification of the 13th Amendment a few months later in December of 1865. I find it interesting that these enslaved people in Texas did not even know it was months after they even ended the Civil War. So, thank you.
It is our practice each time we gather to light a candle for peace. We take this moment to call to mind our commitment to peace of mind, peace in our homes, peace in our communities, and peace in the world.
If you are so moved, stand with me as I call for peace, as we do with this group, the rituals group that I lead. I'm going to address each of the 4 quarters. And so if you wish to join me, you can stand where you are and address each of the 4 quarters with me. Facing the north, may there be peace and deep harmony throughout all of the northern quarter, both within and without. And turning to the east, may there be peace and deep harmony throughout all of the east, both within and without. And to the south, may there be peace and deep harmony throughout all of the southern quarter, both within and without. And to the west, may there be peace and deep harmony throughout all of the western quarter, both within and without. Yes. May there be peace and deep harmony throughout the whole world. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. What's next? Now I would like to read you a story, and this is a little book for little people, if there are any, and if not, it will be for big people who want to come up here and see the pictures with me. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you here.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
This book is called Seasons by Libby Romero. It's brief, but maybe we'll add a little bit to it. Anyway, it shows initially 4 seasons, and it says, "Come explore the seasons." So we have the trees with snow, the springtime trees with blossom, the summertime green trees, and the same trees in the autumn with orange leaves. And now beginning with spring, well, it says, "It is spring. The days are warm, the trees fill with green leaves, baby animals are born, chicks, piglet, etc. Flowers bloom in the spring." And so there's examples of flowers. The days get hotter. It is summer. We go off to the beach to cool off, and we have a bright sun and sunglasses. We've been seeing some of that lately, except for the last 2 days. Animals find ways to stay cool too. They go into the water, they rest in the shade. And examples of various kinds of animals seeking cool situations. And then we go to another season, fall. It is fall. The days are cool, the leaves change colors. Animals start to store food. We have a squirrel who's eating here. Beautiful leaves of the autumn. And we also pick pumpkins in the fall. And there's a few other things here that are not pumpkins, they're squashes, but we pick those too. Now it is winter. The days are cold, snow falls from the sky. Some animals take a long nap, and you can see what the example is here. There's a bear asleep, and other indications of winter like a pair of skates. In the winter, we play in the snow, and there are children playing, and some days we have a lot of children up front here, and so they would be relating to all of these things. There is a season for everything. Thank you. And now we will do our usual singing of the children to their religious education program, if there are any here today. May your minds be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your hearts go on and your hands to the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Today's reading is Signs of the Season, which is written by Vern. On this solstice, we gladly celebrate the many, many signs of the season, things and events in nature that show us summer is here. These are just a few examples.
Here at the beginning of summer, the Pacific madrone tree, a tree for all seasons, is shedding its leaves, its golden leaves. And it does it only at this time of year, adding sunny gold to the woodland floor.
During June, white blossoms of the Lewis's mock orange richly perfume the air, while yellow blossoms of mule's ears light up our sunny hillsides, hillsides that are rapidly curing to yellow and tan.
On wing, young fledgling scrub jays are leaving the nest, while fluffy mallard ducklings are exploring still waters.
Spotted fawns of deer and the calves of elk are bounding in the uplands.
Our crops are thriving in summer's warmth and light. Already, we are harvesting vegetables from our gardens and farms.
At nightfall, we notice 3 bright stars in the east. These are Altair in the eagle, Deneb in the swan, and Vega in the lyre. These 3 bright stars anchor the corners of the summer triangle.
We celebrate these and many, many other signs of the season. Yes, this is the summer time of the year. Let's celebrate via number 73 in your black hymnal, or gray hymnal. Chant for the seasons. And please stand as you're willing and able. We'll sing only the verse that's labeled summer. It's the only appropriate one. And note that the first 4 measures repeat. So you sing them and then you sing them again and then you go on. So, number 73, chant for the seasons. Our minister, the Reverend Sean Parker Dennison, is on summer leave now, so we'll have a lot of lay-led services beginning today. And so we're underway with that. In this service, I am honored to celebrate with you our lived experience of the summer solstice. And I also want to sketch some of what the sun itself means to us. And then I want to share some related thoughts about the more than human world. So, just what is the summer solstice? Well, the term translates, as you know, into standing still of the sun. And today, let's just ignore the astronomical explanation and focus instead on what the solstice is for us. How do we experience it? That is, what is our lived experience of it? Let's celebrate initially 4 facts about the solstice. And don't worry that the specific moment of solstice occurred 2 days ago. Very little has changed in those 2 days. First, let's note that the long duration of daylight, now at its maximum of the year, is 15 hours of daylight here at our latitude. In contrast, we will get only 9 hours of daylight at the winter solstice next December. That's 15 versus 9. We're getting a lot of light right now. Second, perhaps like you, throughout the year, I enjoy witnessing our bright solar orb from my window, seeing it rise up over the ridges near Ashland. Even though this morning was cloudy, I would have seen it rise this morning. The sun would have come up at its most northeasterly direction. This is east, this is north, over there. And while we are gathered here in the Great Hall, it is slowly climbing across the sky, destined to set this evening behind the hills, way off to a northwesterly direction. From now until December, if we keep track of its rising and setting, we will find that the sun repositions itself progressively farther to the south. Like that. Each day, until at the winter solstice, we will see it rise up way over to the southeast and set way over to the southwest. So the sun is always slowly busy, migrating a lot during the year. Third, at midday, the sun now climbs to its highest noontime angle. And that angle is 71 degrees. Well, 90 degrees is straight up, so it's up there pretty high, even at this latitude. By contrast, on the winter solstice, the noontime sun struggles to attain a mere 24 degrees. So 71 now versus 24 in the winter. One consequence of this high angle is that we all have very short shadows. For at the summer solstice, I'll go over here to demonstrate. At the summer solstice, if we stand with the sun shining this way, and if you happen to be 6 feet tall, which I'm not quite, but anyway, the shadow that you cast is only 2 feet long today, right now. At the winter solstice, it will be 13 feet long, which was clear over there to the pulpit. So it's just an amazing thing. A little pool of shadow this time of year, and this great long shadow in the wintertime when the sun is at a low angle. So that's pretty amazing, that change that we can watch all through the year. And fourth, suppose we divide the year into two halves, a bright half and a dark half. In other words, divided into simply summer and winter, as did my Celtic ancestors who were farmers and herders in the British Isles. The year's bright half begins at the vernal or spring equinox in March and ends with the autumnal or fall equinox in September. That means that the summer solstice right now marks the midpoint of the bright half of the year. In other words, the solstice happens at what we call midsummer. I suppose you'll recall that William Shakespeare wrote something about a Midsummer Night's Dream. And that dream was at the summer solstice, don't you suppose? But note also, though we are now at our maximum daylight of the year, this is not the case with our maximum heat. There is a heat lag of a month or more. And this happens because the oceans and the land and the atmosphere take a long time to warm up after winter's darkness and cold. So in terms of heat, the summer solstice is not the maximum. Our hottest weather and the ripening of our hot weather crops is delayed from the solstice. Consequently, my Celtic ancestors reckoned their agricultural summer season as beginning at the festival of Beltane in May, first week of May, and ending at Samhain, the first week of November, or Halloween time. Samhain means summer's end. Thus, year after year, we experience a pair of great sun cycles, one great cycle of light and dark, and an out-of-sync delayed cycle of warm and cool. We experience lighter months followed by darker months, yes, and lagging months followed by warmer months. There's lagging warmer months followed by lagging cooler months. Our region has almost desert dry summer. If we think of it that way, it's almost desert here, followed by damp, cool winter. This is our region's great cyclical breathing in and out. Do we roofians fully heed these solar cycles? Well, it depends. Depends on your circumstances, your interests, your concerns, your time. We know that most of our ancestors closely followed the sun's daily and annual cycles. Those people even deified the sun. You think of Ra, the Egyptian sun god, and think of Helios, the Greek sun god, and think of Inti, the Incan sun god. Think of those Celtic deities whose names translate as shining or luminous or white or fiery. Most of us moderns don't deify the sun. Maybe we should. Maybe we should more nearly deify the sun, that is. For the sun still grows most of our crops and nurtures our forests and warms the plankton of the sea. The sun still influences almost every aspect of our work and play, even the timing of our seasonal affective disorder. Moreover, when we stop to notice, we have to conclude that mostly it is the sun that heats our homes, cooks our food, runs our factories, powers our cars, electrifies our devices like our phones and other things. How is that true? Well, the sun is a source of direct, immediate energy. Well, of course. One example related is rooftop solar panels. We get direct energy from that. But we also use the sun in the form of indirect, delayed energy. Think of electricity that we generate throughout the year from waters in the Columbia River's reservoirs. Waters that pool there from rain and snowstorms each year, storms which were themselves powered by the sun. And we use the sun as a source of ancient stored energy. That is, each bushel of coal and each gallon of petroleum is a reserve of fossilized energy. In effect, coal and petroleum are natural batteries that have silently stored sunlight for millions of years in their chemical bonds. And so the sun provides us direct immediate energy, indirect delayed energy, and even ancient stored energy. And all this from this great solar orb, the sun. So the sun is, I assert, central to our lives. Should we not heed it more closely? I think so. And yes, of course, we're doing it right here today. We're gathered here together, celebrating the sun right now at this summer solstice. All of these feelings and thoughts about the sun bring me to my final comments. More and more as I age, I wonder why we Unitarian Universalists do not more fully heed the sun, but not just the sun, but all of reality. I don't expect everyone to feel exactly as I do about this point, but hear me out just for a little bit, for a few moments. Unitarian Universalism has its historical roots in Christianity. even though modern UUs are proud to draw widely upon many sources. Much of that Christian heritage concerns itself with mitigating excessive self-centeredness. So let's hold a lens upon self-centeredness. And to do this, I find it useful to speak of three centrisms. As to self-centeredness, the first centrism is the tendency to prioritize our personal self-interest. In a word, our egocentrism. Individual UUs, like Christians and like humans in general, give priority to numero uno. We self-preserve. We attend to our personal interests, preferentially. Well, obviously, we each must do some of this if we are to continue living. We also have countervailing tendencies, such as interpersonal bonding, altruistic caring, nurturing, random acts of kindness. Moreover, our Christian roots offer us sage advice about self-centeredness, such as, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. And when we glance up there on the wall, where our 7 traditional UU principles are summarized, we notice that one of them says, we affirm the inherent dignity and worth of every person. So I'm happy that both Unitarian Universalists and Christians in general, I think, get passing grades in terms of trying to mitigate their egocentrism. The second centrism can be called ethnocentrism. It pertains to self-centeredness with regard to groups of people. Humans have a tendency to divide the world into in-groups and out-groups. Into my team or my clan or my race or my religion or my nation, in contrast to all those others, the out-groups. When it becomes extreme, our ethnocentrism results, well, you know the story. It results in social indifference, political inequality, oppression, even war. Not to mention cultural narrowness and emotional impoverishment within each of our in-groups. Happily, however, we do urge ourselves to limit our ethnocentrism. We encourage expansion of our circles of concern. We seek to become educated about outgroups. We work at practicing anti-racism, and we engage in compassionate social action. Indeed, we UUs covenant to hold love at our center. Up there on the wall, we see relevant words such as justice and equity and democratic process and world community. So yes, we UUs do give attention to limiting our ethnocentrism, and I would give us pretty good grades in regard to limiting our ethnocentrism. We try. It's the third centrism, our anthropocentrism, that concerns me. This is our tendency to fill up our heart and mind with humans, and to prioritize humans over all else. We have become preoccupied with our own kind. We have almost become mired in it. After all, we were told in Genesis that we humans were to have dominion over the creation. And we seem to have taken that responsibility to mean we may ignore the creation, except when we want to use it, mine it, sell it, pollute it. You may recall that in the year 1806, the English poet William Wordsworth regretted our preoccupation with the world by which he meant other humans. He said, "The world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending. We lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours." Wordsworth was looking beyond just humans. Anthropocentrism seems to have become an entrenched habit, a habit of our attention, our attitude, our speech. It amounts to a blind spot. As a consequence, I think our outlook upon the whole of reality remains rather narrow. Humanity suffers from a lack of wholeness. We lack a sense of membership in the greater whole of reality. What if we were to routinely look upon the whole of reality in a global way, and then to care for the world in a global way? Surely life would be better. That is, what if we celebrated not only the sun, but all of reality? Of course, right up there on the wall too is our seventh principle. It urges us to respect the interdependent web. Isn't that seventh principle just what we need? Well, it is helpful. It is a helpful response to our anthropocentrism. I can almost not pronounce that word. Insofar as it goes, as the seventh principle goes. But note, there's just one principle out of 7. The other 6 deal with egocentrism and ethnocentrism. Moreover, I feel our 7th principle is simply too weak. It's tepid, for it merely calls us to respect the interdependent web. Of course, many UUs do far more than just show it respect, but I feel that Unitarian Universalism, like its Christian heritage, generally earns barely a passing grade with regard to anthropocentrism. In my opinion, UUism has room to grow in this area. That's good. In addition to its mitigation of egocentrism and ethnocentrism, our faith needs a stronger commitment to the whole. And I believe we can do this. We can. How might we do this? Well, I'm almost out of time, so I'm not going to go very far more with this. But off the top of my head, here are 2 antidotes to our anthropocentrism. First, I suggest this. Experiment with inserting the word human into every story, every news report, every conversation you have or hear. For example, when a TV newscast shouts, "The war in Gaza intensified today," we can restate this as, "The war among humans in Gaza intensified today." Or if a study reports, "Oregon has a big addiction problem," this can become, "The humans in Oregon have a big addiction problem." Or, here in the Great Hall, we are often proud to say things like, "We UU strive to create a more just community." This can be restated, "We UU humans are striving to create a more just human community." This tactic of adding the word human has the power to help us see just how thoroughly preoccupied we are with ourselves. The other suggestion I have is to simply heed the natural world each day of our lives. Let's notice the migrating suns rising and setting day by day, or at least month by month. Let us savor all 4 seasons. Let us get our hands in the soil. Let us train our brains to pay more attention to all of reality, including those parts that are not human. The philosopher David Abram has coined an apt and now widely used name for nature. He calls it the more than human world. The more than human world. So let us give the more than human world our frequent attention that we may thereby soften our tendency to be anthropocentric. Well, enough of my sermonizing. Thank you for gathering here today to celebrate the summer solstice and the sun, and indeed the whole of reality. Be aware that Ruth's seasonal rituals group has been meeting and celebrating every 6 weeks since June of 2023, though we did not meet yesterday because I was doing this here today. But we have met 16 times so far since we started. Watch for announcements of future rituals of the seasonal rituals group in Ruth's news to note. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vern. Each week, we take an offering to support the mission and the work of our congregation. Your gifts are by far the most important source of support for the services, mission, and work of this congregation. Your generosity is what keeps us going and helps us continue to make a difference in people's lives and in the world around us. If you're joining us online, you will soon see directions for giving on the screen. If you are here in the Great Hall, you can put your gift in the offering basket or scan the QR code on the back of your order of service to give electronically. If you need support, please contact Reverend Sean using the form on rvuuf.org. We will do our best to help. We will now give and receive our morning offering.
Thank you for these gifts and all the gifts that you give to the world. Thank you. For our closing hymn, let's do a familiar tune, Blue Boat Home. And Pat is going to ring the bell here, and a few spots within this song. If you'll stand as you wish. It's in the green the green hymnal on number 1064. Verses 1 and 3. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue road. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, ever great winds urging me on. Read the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue road. For our closing words today, I'd like to read something from the writer and naturalist Henry Beston. Henry Beston spent a year, 1926, living alone in a small house on the beach of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. His book about that year, The Outermost House, A Year of Life on the Great Beach of Cape Cod, tells about Beston's year of solitude. It's a classic of its genre. It recounts his observations and musings, part of which reflect his attention to the sun. Here's a sample. A year indoors is a journey through a paper calendar. A year in outer nature is the accomplishment of a tremendous ritual. To share in it, one must have a knowledge of the pilgrimage of the sun. All of these autumn weeks, I have watched the great disk going south along the horizon of moorlands beyond the marsh, now sinking behind this field, now behind this leafless tree, now behind this sedgy hillock dappled with thin snow. We lose a great deal, I think, when we lose this sense and feeling for the sun. When all has been said, the adventure of the sun is the great natural drama by which we live, and not to have joy in it and awe of it, not to share in it, is to close a dull door on nature's sustaining and poetic spirit. Thank you, Henry Beston, and thank you for listening today. May we all find peace and deep harmony in our lives.